It's all about the leadership. You've got to make sure that you've got the right leaders in the right place, that they are empowered, and that everybody understands the mission and the vision.
Winners don't do different things. They do things differently.
We're in a technology business, and technology is changing. And so if you're not changing, you're done. You are done.
Hi, Bill. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sunny. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. Especially after our dinner, I reflected on our conversation and I'm like, Bill is a great, great human being, not only a great entrepreneur, he's a great human being. And the mindsets that you shared, I'm like, that is so amazing when you can get to that level and still stay grounded and also take care of your health, being very intentional about your health. That could be playing golf. But whatever you do, you're taking care of yourself and you're taking care of your relationships, you're taking care of your entrepreneurial journey and the people that are around you at work, and you're making an impact. And I'm like, those are great mindsets that Bill shared.
Well, thanks. It's funny. I never really look at it that way. I think it's just, big believer and do the right thing, and good things will then happen in return. So, and it's all about the people, right? Surround yourself with people that you want to be surrounded with and by, and have the same type of mindset. And look, at the end of the day, yes, we're in the technology business, but I think we can all agree. And as you and I discussed, it's not actually about the technology. It's about the people that support the technology. And so we're in a service business. We're in a people business. And so for that, I always say that the people are the most important asset of any organization.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Because when you have that, then as a company, you can be thrive because you thrive as a company. And
Unintended.
and no wonder, no matter who I talk to in the channel, and I'm very active in the channel, hosting different 50 different cities lunch for MSPs for our partners. No matter where I go, people know about Thrive because there are companies where they don't change, and there are companies that they transform, and then there are companies where they transform an industry. And those are transformational companies. And Thrive is one. That's why Thrive is a household name when it comes to MSP channel. And it's so inspirational for MSPs to look at Thrive journey and how you not only transform your business, but you also transform this whole industry. And that takes so much in terms of leadership. And your journey is so amazing. And I'm so excited about sharing that, Bill. Can you please, like, high level? I know people know you in the channel, people know Thrive, people know Rob, your leadership team that took the company from here to there. And I just want those people where they may not be familiar with Thrive to get that high level perspective on Thrive journey. Can you give us a little bit of summarized version of your journey?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'd be remiss not to mention Rob Stevenson. As you know, Rob has exited the business as of this past January, but it was really Rob's vision and strategy that started what we would refer to as Thrive 2.0, which really took off about 8 years ago. So, Rob's vision was to really change the MSP industry. And in fact, we don't even like to call ourselves an MSP, or we don't even really like to call ourselves an MSSP, right? We're a next gen service provider. And so his vision was really to focus on business outcomes and value added services around security. We are a security first led organization. Cloud, both from a private and public. We see a lot more hybrid, as you and I discussed a few weeks ago. And then, of course, there's the traditional managed services, whether it be managing an infrastructure and environment, and or your help desk type services. And so, coupled with that, we know that private equity has now gotten into this space, and they love our business model. They love reoccurring revenue, and they love margin, right? And so there's all the above in this space if you do it and you do it right, and you tie it to those value added services that we mentioned, security and cloud. And so What we've done is we've really been able to pull together a suite of products and manage them under one, call it platform, which is ServiceNow, which is a bit different than most in the industry. And we've got now, call it 20 full-time developers who are constantly evolving the platform. Our CTO, Mike Gray, has done an unbelievable job building out the platform, customizing it to our internal needs, and developing APIs for all of these different products to make it much more effective and efficient for our technicians and engineers to provide a high level of service and support to our customers. And so, again, it goes back to the people. The management team has changed over the years, and there's been a lot of people who helped to get this rocket ship off the ground. We continue to bring on strong talent and great leaders. And again, as you and I discussed a couple of weeks ago, it's all about the leadership. You've got to make sure that you've got the right leaders in the right place, that they are empowered, and that everybody understands the mission and the vision, and keep it simple so everybody can get behind it. Everybody understands what you're doing. And most importantly, everybody understands why you're doing it. And so, coupled with all of that, and going back to the private equity comment, we've got two great sponsors. They're 50-50 in Court Square Capital and Berkshire Partners. And we're going to continue our M&A thesis and strategy. Over the last, call it 4 years, we did about 18 acquisitions. We plan to do, on average, 4 to 5 acquisitions a year for the next, call it 4 to 5 years. And we've built out a great integration team. So we've got a team that focuses on integration, so it doesn't take away from our core business. And we think that we built out not only a great team, but a great engine and a great playbook on how to do it and do it well. Because you can do 20 integrations and you've done 20, but they're all different, right? They all take on their own unique set of circumstances. So that's really been the journey thus far.
Yeah, and that's an amazing journey, so inspirational journey. And what I heard you say, Bill, is that I always believe in doing things differently. Out of 190 people are going this way, you try looking this way. That there is probably a better, bigger, unique opportunity that 90 people don't see. And one common thing that I am listening is that you were team focused. Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So winners don't do different things, they do things differently. They keep it simple, they make it real, and they leverage the team strength, the people focus that you mentioned, and then they leverage innovation strength. The way you gave that example of ServiceNow and what you built around that ServiceNow, that a lot of MSPs can't even think about ServiceNow. But not only that you did that, but you took that technology and you innovated yourself to use that technology to build more value. And I think that is the differentiator. That is something unique that Thrive is doing, that is making your journey so unique and so powerful and so inspirational. And so, where I'm going with this now is that there is just so much to learn from this journey and from the entire leadership team. And now that you're here, I want the market to take some learnings from your learnings. And so, can you, like, when you reflect on your journey, if you have to come up with 1 to 3 key learnings from where you were, where you are, and when you reflect that what worked, what didn't work, what are my insights that I have gained, and
I've
your
got plenty of them.
so what are those 1, 2, 3 things that you would like to share with the MSP channel, with the entrepreneurs, that we can learn from your learnings?
Sure. So, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'll do my best to come back to all of it. One is, I can't emphasize enough, and no matter what book you read or what podcast you might listen to, or what motivational memes that you may get on a daily basis, everybody always says the same thing, and it's all about leadership, right? But do you execute on it? Is it just a saying, or do you live it, right? And so for me, it's truly about leadership, making sure that you're hiring the right people. And if you hire the right people, you've got to empower them, and you've got to let them do their job. Don't micromanage them, right? Make sure that everybody understands what the mission is. Make sure that everybody understands what the vision is, the strategy, and the tactical things that as a group you co-author to go and achieve your goals, and then get out of the way, hold people accountable, and make sure that the ship continues in the same direction. You know, another thing that is so often talked about, but what I have find is not many people actually live it, and it's a mistake that everybody makes in the beginning, whether it be in this business or any other business that you're trying to grow and scale. Is you got to have a clear strategy, and you have to make sure that you standardize, right? You don't want to make the mistake of having too many tools, having an inconsistent process around service delivery. Um, Another pitfall is underestimating the importance of customer success, right? If you've got all this new business coming in the front door, and you've got a lot of business going out the back door, and nobody managing it and owning it, that's a problem, right? You can't grow, and you can't scale, excuse me. And you can't be everything to everyone, right? Have a very focused go-to-market strategy. Um, be very disciplined, and have a focus on institutional knowledge around the vertical or verticals that you're servicing, right? Become an expert in those verticals. And you can't neglect internal talent, and making sure that as an organization you are providing the tools to help that talent grow. Training, constant training, continuous improvement, empowerment. You know, those are all the things that I think sometimes are overlooked in the beginning, and you make a lot of mistakes. And it's funny, right? Whether you're in sales and you start to have a good amount of success, you tend to try to find the hack or the shortcut, and all of a sudden you have a bad quarter, and you wonder why. And then if you take a step back and look introspectively, it's because you didn't do the basics. You didn't do the fundamentals. You didn't do the things that made you successful in the first place. And it's always about going back to the basics. It's always about being disciplined, sticking to your model, sticking to your stack, and be unwavering in your commitment.
That is so good. That's not only gold, that's diamond. Uh, so leadership, right? So a lot of people have ideas. The difference between people who are kind of really they want to be successful, and people who are successful is really the execution of your new thinking, new ideas, or what really your strategy is. And that's why the person who is going to execute strategy, and leaders they will execute strategy, that's important. So first thing that I heard is leadership. Hire right leaders, that execution focus. And the second is more of, now that you have your vision and you're really disciplined about executing that strategy to achieve that vision, then it really, who's going to execute really is people, and
That's right.
having the right people on the bus that they talk about. And then knowing that your go to market is so clear, simple, clear, you're not being everything to everyone. You have some standardization. You have a playbook, which is repeatable and referable. Your product, whatever you go to market with, is a referable product. And how you make it referable is when you are the master of that capability, and the marketplace needs you, they want you. And the only way to be master at something is when you're not everything to everyone. So standardization of your processes, your delivery, that customer is served right, and they can have that consistent experience, they have the consistent value prop. And then the customer success will ensure that you are winning and you are not losing your ICP because you are so focused on your ICP, you're so focused on your unique capabilities, and you are delivering that standardized experience to the customer. So you are winning more than you're losing, and that really brings a lot of success. Did I miss on anything?
No, not at all. And just to come back to one point, and the reason why I bring up customer success is anytime you're building, anytime you're growing, anytime you're scaling, there always tends to be more of an emphasis on the new business, the new logo business, right? And my CRO Joe Wallach says all the time, um, all revenue is created equal. Now, margin aside,
Yeah.
but all revenue is created equal, and what he means by that is it's when you're starting off, you're so hyper focused on the new business and the growth, and you have a tendency sometimes not to focus on the existing business, and that is revenue, right? That is revenue that is already earned. That's revenue that's already, call it, paid for, and there's a lot of opportunity for additional cross and upsell within your existing base, which is also new revenue. And it's also so important to make sure that you're providing high quality service, that your customers are happy and they stay. I've seen it all too often, and I know you have too, where you focus too much over here, and next thing you know, you turn around and there's customers exiting the business, and now you're scrambling to figure out, why, what do we need to do different? Focus on all revenue equally all the time.
Yeah. And to your point, Bill, then the revenue that you already have and the revenue that you can, new dollar that you can create from your existing customers by delivering value, right value, is probably the most cost efficient way to grow, to bring in a
Yeah,
new dollar.
cost of sales is much less, right?
Right. And that's your best ROI growth.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you, and then another piece that you mentioned is that the revenue created equal. And when you focus on your existing customers and expanding those accounts, not only that your revenue is very efficient, like you're gaining new revenue, the dollar that you spent to bring in a new dollar is like the most probably efficient way. But here's one more thing, which is reputation. Because reputation you only get once. And whoever is that target customer, the ICP, the hero target that you have, if they respect your what you promised them, you're keeping that promise, your reputation is there with them. And if you lose a customer because of the value alignment, means the value prop alignment, then reputation is at risk as well.
100%.
Yeah. And that's like a brand, whatever you want to name it, from the
And listen, referral business is the best business.
referral business is the best business, and it keeps you, and that you only get with reputation.
That's right.
Yes. And the trust that you build with your customers, and they know that, okay, promise makers, promise keepers, they are doing excellent job. So now one, Bill, that I want to talk about is that Thrive is a very respected brand. So can you talk to me about like who is the right ICP for you? So if there's someone who's listening to this, they want to do business with you either as a small, medium-sized business or as a MSP, they want to partner up with you. Can
Right.
you talk about those two personas, like when you, from the M&A point of view and from the new logos point of view?
Sure. So if you look at our ICP, it's really two types of customers. One, a lot of MSPs focus on the SMB, right? Small, medium-sized businesses. When we look at the SMB, people have a tendency to put a head count on it. Maybe it's 15 users up and through 250 or whatever it might be. We have a tendency to focus on organizations that, one, look at technology the way we look at technology. So what does that mean? They look at technology to help enable their business, to grow their business, to differentiate their business, and to make their business more profitable, right? Standardize, drive operational efficiency, automate wherever they can. And the other is, especially in today's environment, right, is how do they protect their business? What is their security posture? They are willing to spend money because they know that IT is not a cost center. It's a way for them to grow their business, scale their business, be more profitable, differentiate. But at the same time, they need to protect that asset, and they're going to spend the money on the appropriate security products and services to allow them to do the latter, right? And so, um, in many cases, those types of customers tend to be professional services organizations, right? Whether it be legal, whether it be accounting, whether it be financial services, and other organizations that are highly regulated and have to deal with compliance, right? And so, different types of healthcare. So those are the types of organizations that we focus on when it comes to that SMB. As we go upstream into the mid market, and I would say that's right around the 250, 500 user mark for point of reference, up to about 5,000. Your selling motion is a little different. You still want to look for the same customers for the same reasons, but your product stack might change a little bit more. What we see is a lot more co-managed environments, primarily around security and cloud. And once again, they've got to value IT. They don't look at it as a cost center, and they're looking at ways to drive efficiency, augment their capabilities, bring in expertise around, again, really security, and somebody who's going to have the ability and the capacity to really watch their business and watch it well with the right products, with the right stack, if you will, and then, of course, with the right people.
Got it. So basically, it's more of the mindset of from the customer point of view, how they view technology. Is that in alignment with the way you view it? And they look at that as something that is going to help them create even more value by partnering up with the right technology partner. Now, if I'm an MSP listening to this, I want to know who is the right partner for Thrive to partner up with. So, and then from basically your growth through collaborations, growth through partnerships with other MSPs in any shape or form, who is the right MSP for you from the ICP point of view? And why should I consider partnering up with Thrive rather than many other buyers out there?
Yeah, so from an M&A perspective, we look at a few different things, and again, trying to keep it simple, because that is important. Is one, I will tell you that culture and leadership trump strategy any day of the week, right? And you could have the greatest strategy, but if you don't have the right culture and the right team supporting it, you're never going to be able to execute on it. So why is that relevant to your question? We look at the organization, we look at the leadership team, we look at the culture, top down and bottom up, and there has to be alignment in the culture, because you can integrate technology, and a lot of the engineers and technical folks, might throw a rotten tomato at me for saying this, but at the end of the day, integrating the technology is easy, right? Because technology is going to do what you end up telling it what to do, as long as you've got the right technology, right? And so you can in essence almost set it and forget it, and it's going to work. You can't do that with people, right? And so you've got to make sure that the organization is in alignment with your mission, your vision, where you're going, how you're getting there, why you're going that way. Because the last thing that you need is a group of 20, 50, 100, 250 employees joining your organization not in alignment and go in an opposite direction, which leads to complete destruction, right? And so we look at that first. Two is we've got to make sure that it's a worthwhile endeavor for both parties. So there's the financial aspect of it, not to get too into the details, but for us, we typically look at organizations that are north of 1.5 million in EBITDA, up through $50 million in EBITDA. And so we also look at their technology stack. Is it in alignment with ours? Is it close to being in alignment with ours? What is their service delivery model? How are their customers consuming their product? How are they consuming service delivery? And we like to make sure that there's alignment in all those different categories, because again, alignment is everything. And so those are the things that we primarily focus on. We don't want to bring in an organization that not only is not a good cultural fit, but philosophically delivers service very differently. Philosophically has a very different product stack. And the reason for that is they have their customers for a reason. And their customers are used to consuming something a certain way. And now all of a sudden, if you come in, rip the Band-Aid off, and it's a complete departure from what they've been accustomed to, there's a lot of risk, right? And the customer base is, by and large, one of the biggest assets that you're acquiring.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you for sharing that. And so from the culture alignment, technology alignment, and overall some strategic synergies that are there, that is important. Now, if there is one lesson, so you have played a role of a COO, and that's been execution, execution, execution. Again, it's ideation to execution. And the only way to have really disciplined execution or world-class execution is the role that you played in that journey. So what is the greatest lesson that you have learned as a COO where other CEOs can learn to be better CEOs for the visionary?
So there's a few things. One, find a good mentor. Find a group that you can go and speak to, air your thoughts, your concerns. A person or a group of individuals that isn't staring at the same sun, developing the same blind spots, right? Mm-hmm. And so getting different perspective from people who have the acumen, who understand business well, have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience. You and I talked about this, and by the way, not just one person, not just potentially one group. It's so important to be able to have those discussions with people that are going to come at it from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you've got a pulse on the market. We have a relationship with Gartner. I've got a call on a bi-weekly basis with our Gartner team, and we're constantly looking at things that are taking place within the market, the trends, trying to see not only where we are today, but where the market is going tomorrow. What do we need to do to properly align ourselves with the changes, the shifts, different trends, making sure that our product stack, our solutions are not only in alignment with what the market is looking for and asking for today, but making sure we're prepared to provide the solutions that it's going to require for the needs in the future, and trying to find and figure out ways to constantly differentiate yourself from the competition. And so, those things are extremely important. I don't know whether they're overlooked or they're not. But I have learned that making sure that you have a really good understanding on a broad basis is important. And then I'm going to go back to what I say time and time again, right? You've got to make sure that you're hiring leaders who believe in your vision, believe in the company's vision and the mission, and that they are doers. They execute. They hold themselves accountable. They hold their teams accountable. And they get stuff done, right? Because, sitting in a conference room and iterating, week in or week out, or getting in a conference room and having a meeting about a meeting to schedule another meeting to have a meeting doesn't do you any good. So I love finding people and working with people who just want to get stuff done.
Get stuff done.
I could use There's another way of phrasing that, but I'm keeping it PG.
That is awesome. So No, thank you for sharing that. Also, the piece of Gartner, and how close you are in terms of keeping yourself educated and being alert where what are the market conditions and where things are going. So if
And
there's
what the
one,
competitors are doing too. It's equally as important, right?
yes,
You got to make sure you understand what the competition is doing,
yeah,
and equally, if not more important, what they're not doing, right?
that they're not doing,
And
yeah.
by way of example, we're super excited, and I won't give you too much because I don't want to give the competitors too much. But there's so much talk around AI right now,
Yeah,
and I personally have seen that a lot of it is marketing puffery. And if you really peel back the onion or look under the hood, a lot of companies who are saying that they are leveraging AI, they're really not. I can tell you that one, we truly are within our platform, within ServiceNow, especially our partnership with them, and them being enterprise and the investments that they're making there, and our CTO and our COO, Mike Gray and Scott Steele, are very engaged in operationalizing AI within our platform. That's one. But two, where I was going with this is our team is currently working on, and it's in beta, developing, and we're going to go to market probably end of Q2, beginning of Q3, with an AI solution for our customers, and it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a huge differentiator, and we're going to be the only ones to offer it. And I can't tell you anymore.
yeah. Well, last question I have is that knowing what you know from all the resources that you have access to in terms of market understanding, if you have one piece of advice for MSPs, and when I say MSPs, what I'm talking about is that next gen MSPs, right? If the old way of MSP is dead, the new way is today, but then there is a newer way that's coming up. So, based on your understanding, what do I need to learn from Bill in terms of where market is going and how can I prepare my business? What is that one thing I can do to prepare my business to continue to be successful?
I don't know if there's one thing. I think there's a combination of things,
Sure.
right? And I'm gonna kick the dead horse. Make sure that you've got a leadership team that you believe has the ability to scale with you on that journey. Um, 2 years ago, we had an SKO, and the theme was to be a disruptor, right? And in order to be a disruptor, you have to constantly be willing to do things that other people aren't doing. You have to become very comfortable with being uncomfortable, taking those risks, and doing something that others haven't done, right? In order to have the things others don't have, do the things others don't do, and just be unwavering in your commitment to getting to that next level. And again, it's all about the team, Sonny. If you've got the team that's got the discipline, has got the grit, they're willing to execute, they're willing to be uncomfortable, and they don't have the mindset of we've always done it this way, right? That's very dangerous. If you're going to grow and scale to the next level, you've got to become very comfortable being uncomfortable, taking the risks, being very calculated, sticking with your strategy, having the ability to make changes along the way where needed, and not be afraid to do it. I think are what's most important. And then, of course, we can talk about the technology, right? You want to make sure you've got the right technology stack, that you're not over-tooled, that you're not over-engineered, that your stack, your solutions meet the market requirements and the demands, and you have the ability to execute on it and execute it on a high level, right? Those are a lot of the givens. But standardize as much as you can, automate as much as you can, because that's going to drive the efficiencies, and that's what it takes to be able to grow and scale, as you know.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. Awesome advice that the only way to stay as a cutting edge MSP is to apply a lot of new thinking, a lot of unconventional thinking, a lot of having that tolerance level to uncertainty, facing your fears, being courageous about betting on things that a lot of other people are not betting on. And it's literally what I talk about. Like one thing, I did one session this morning, Will, with my live by design for my team members. So I had them create two lists. One was indecision in their life, and the other one was your worst indecisions list and your best bad decisions list. And then the whole point that I made at the end of that reflection was uh, bad decisions are always better than
And no decision or
yeah.
indecision. Right.
So when it's your bother list, it's bothering you. It's kind of that anxiety is there, the friction is there with yourself, like not making a decision. And for whatever reason, it could be clarity required, it could be like, the courage required, it could be whatever is required, but you have indecisions. The worst thing that one entrepreneur especially can do is not making decisions. And bad decisions are your R&D. And
That's
that
right.
is where the learning happens. That's where the transformation happens. And you can only make bad decisions as an entrepreneur or as a entrepreneurial leader if you have that risk taking that you were talking about. So I just wanted to connect that with risk taking, that having strategy to make uncertainty a certainty is a great way to look at things. And if you're doing those things that other people don't do, or they're not making hard decisions and you're doing it, you are going to have 10x more success than anyone around you.
100% agree. And if you think about it, right, we're in a technology business, and technology is changing at a pace like we've never seen before. And so if you're not changing,
You're done.
you're done. You are done.
Yes. And yes. So, Bill, thank you so much for coming to my show. I truly appreciate you, my friend. And I have so much respect for what Thrive team was able to accomplish and what Rob and you guys are like, and your leadership team. It's not only inspirational for me and others, it's also really breaking those barriers for the MSP channel, where things that were once considered impossible as a MSP, you made that possible. You paved that path for a lot of other MSPs, being that inspirational company, that transformational company. So that creates so much value for this channel, just your journey and your success story. And we all can learn so much from this team, this company, and so much respect for you,
Thanks.
my friend, and your team.
Sunny, feelings are mutual, and especially for all that you've done, and where you started and where you're at now. I really enjoyed hearing about your journey at dinner. And what I'll leave on this. One of the great things about this industry is, although we're all competitors, we only get better together. Right? The sharing, helping, look at the market, the evolution, the things that we need to do collectively to provide better support and service to all the small business and medium-sized businesses that we support. It's good for all of us. It's good for our economy, right? And sometimes I think we need to take a step back and realize just how lucky we are to be in this space with the people that are in it.
Yes, 100%. And that's like value creation, individual value creation, team value creation, channel. Then you're creating value as a channel for this world. And that value, again, helps our country. It helps so many human beings that are part of this MSP village.
Yeah, it's like a village.
MSP is like a village, right? So we're better together. It's like a country village. That everyone knows everyone, and I think we are better together. To your point,
100%.
There's so much strength in that togetherness, in that oneness as MSPs, and I truly appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.